Welcome to a video that I'm going to go over my recent LOPs alpha update. This brings about 19 new operator changes. I'm going to go over a couple of them in this video. We're not going to go too deep, but I'm going to try to specifically point out some of the bigger changes and some of the things that can immediately make this useful. Also just pointing out this this changelog thing was made by NanoBanana with the Gemini image gen. I might show that in this video. It's kind of crazy how it does the text so well, but then also fails so obviously. I tried many times to get this, and this was probably one of my favorite generations, and it just could not spell Orchestrator for sure, and I don't know what a chat parameter is. But all that being said, let's actually just dive into this. This is just an empty TouchDesigner network. Check out my other video for LOP installation. It's pretty much just the first 5 or 6 minutes of that video. But as long as you have the LOP talks in your project, it's going to probably copy itself to the root of your TouchDesigner project at the very center. But as long as LOPs is there, and you'll also see if I turn on my parameters with P, I had that hidden for the beginning, that you have an installation path, and I go over the details for troubleshooting the installation and installing things in that other video, so definitely check that out. But let's just dive into this blank network. Open the op create dialog, and we'll go to the web viewer. The default URL for the web viewer in LOPs is the documentation, so this is a good reference if you want to quickly check on something. And let's click the recent changes, which will show you the changelog for the version I released the other day. So a couple key new additions. I'll get into the operator soon, but we have pretty much a whole new way to handle the conversation management with the agent, as well as the agent having multi-turn tool calling supported. So it can actually call multiple turns in one go. I also added Anthropic model support. So this is hitting the Claude models directly through their API versus going through OpenRouter. It still works with OpenRouter. Also, we have this agent orchestrator, which is a multi-agent orchestration system. And I previously had an orchestrator, but that honestly kind of got replaced with the agent session and the agent orchestrator and just the agent itself having the ability to call multiple tools in one go. And then we also have a completely new operator, which is a tool that handles the virtual file system in Touch. And I will briefly touch on that. And the chat viewer also got a full rewrite. And this is really handy to use. With the Gemini Live operator, I improved a good bit of stability and tool handling, as well as added the ability for you to resume previous conversations. There's like a 12-hour timeout on that, but this does make it much more useful because you can kind of stop it, go back to it. We looked at it up here, but I added the NanoBanana Gemini 2.5 Flash in Gemini Image Gen. This creates really awesome edits and is also just a good image generator flat out. And search, the search operator also got a full rewrite. The previous search operator is still here, Serper search. It might be useful for particularly like image search for a person using it, like actual user, but for agents and giving LLMs the ability to search the web, this new search op right here is much improved and has multiple providers and fallbacks. Another thing to point out is the MCP server has a full config system now, and it also comes with 2 pretty powerful MCP servers, one for GLSL and one that can basically make any script operator in TouchDesigner. So that is a lot more handy, and I will show that in a future video in more depth, as well as these speech-to-text and text-to-speech ones. I will hit those in a different video. But yeah, before I get into the nodes, I want to say that this is still very experimental, and I'm definitely seeking feedback. So if you have any ideas for what you want to do but aren't sure how to do, please let me know. This is a very new experimental system, so I'm actively adding a lot of things. Also, snippets and examples are coming soon, as well as more complex workflow tutorial videos. But yeah, I don't want to spend too much time just talking about it when I can show you. So let's get into it. When you do drop the LOPs operator, one thing to note is before you start adding any agents or anything, you probably want to set your server and model in the chat TD parameters. So I opened the op create dialog, and these top 2 ChatTD and Python Manager will actually just open parameters. Those are parameters that are in operators inside here, but you don't need to look at that. For now, it's set to this Llama 4 16 expert 17B model, but let's actually just change that to a model that I really like and is very cheap, Gemini 2.0 Flash. I like 2.0 Flash, especially because it's not a thinking model, so you get responses immediately, and especially if you're not demanding too much, it can be used as a very quick decision-making model. These Grok models are really awesome and really quick. Llama 4, good. The Kimi K2 is a little bit more expensive and also really good, and the GPT OSS models are quite nice as well. But let's go Gemini 2.0 Flash. I will also have more information coming soon on model configurations and recommendations for different models for different things, because I know that's like pretty confusing if you haven't experimented a good amount with these things, and I am very happy to provide that information soon. So when you set the server and model, now anytime that you set an agent down, it's going to automatically be set by the settings in ChatTD. So let's look at some of the new capabilities in the agent. Most of the parameters are the same. In the tools section, we have these two new things here. And then also in the IO, we have a couple more things with like showing the metadata that is going to come in handy. But the biggest thing is the tool turn budget. So this allows the LLM to do multiple actions in the same call. So I can say, like we've done before, hey, screaming at it with all caps, but let me call that. And it's going to say, hello, what can I help with you in TouchDesigner today? I do have a slightly longer system prompt that gives it a little bit more information, but this is definitely one of the most important things to change when controlling the behavior of the LLM. We'll see now that the agent responds with just a single message. It didn't use any tools, obviously. There are no tools linked. And it only used a single call because it didn't call any tools. So if I was to add a tool like the tool DAT, which is a operator for creating and editing DATs, it has a lot of these tool toggles, which basically sets how the tool is displayed to the agent. If I go to the tool debugger and turn the tool DAT on there, hit get tools, we'll see that this actually has 11 different tools that are all very specific, pretty much singular actions. But perhaps, maybe I just don't want it to actually be able to do anything other than insert a row and replace rows. So I can turn off replace all, turn off find replace. Maybe we don't even want it to create it. And yeah, so insert row, replace row. Let's just turn off everything else. So now we see we have three tools: read content, replace rows, and insert row. It will automatically create the DAT if missing, so it doesn't necessarily need to create the DAT. So let's add this tool DAT to the agent with only a restricted number of tools. Oh, there's a weird viewer thing in Touch. Sometimes the DATs just disappear and you lose the context or you can't see it. Turn off the viewer and turn it back on. Also, if it's like this, you can disable and it usually goes back. So we have the tool DAT with these three tools exposed, and we're going to call the agent, but instead of saying, hey, we're going to say add a row to the table with a simple testing 1, 2, 3 message. So now when I call this, can you specify the row index? Let's see if it will just go again this time. So there, it didn't ask for confirmation. I just ran it again. That's something you can specify in the system prompt to not ask for confirmation, but you can see it added a row testing 1, 2, 3, and it actually gets this diff view and it includes the diff. But yeah, so we see insert row. If we go to the IO and show metadata, we'll see the actual inputs that it has there. And that was only one tool call, but you'll see that it called a tool and then it responded to us. But if we said first, read the table, then add a row, and you noticed it created the table. So I'm just going to delete that. You probably don't actually, you can probably keep that target dat name. Let's just keep that with the warning for stress test. And we'll give it 2 should be fine. 3, let's go with 3. And so now it should read the table and then realize that there's nothing in the table because it'll create an empty table, and then it will add the row. So we'll call that, it reads the content, and it says the table is currently empty, and now it's going to insert the row, and it inserted the row at index 0. This is kind of the new special sauce with this release, is this multiple turns in one go, as well as the ability to call the agent in a fashion that is not this like loop feedback thing. So I kind of showed this in a previous video where if you were to talk to the agent, you would use this thing, this LOP feedback, and you would kind of get the end of the conversation, put it back into the add message. And this is still totally viable. But the problem is it doesn't save this tool calling context. So if I say now, it will see that it has read the table and it will add a row, and it has added the row. And if I say, add a, or just, can you check the table and let me know if the contents were updated. So this is basically, it will know that I told it to read the table and add it, but now I'm just saying check it. So it shouldn't change the table, but it should check it. And it says, yes, the table was updated. There's also a second empty row. So now I can maybe say in this, let's remove that empty row. And then I call the agent, go over here, and looks like I can't remove a row with the available tools, but I can replace the row. Ah, nice. So can you, let's just say, can you remove it now? And in the tooldat, we will turn on delete row. And it deleted the row. Great. So yeah, this is kind of like still a continuation of what was possible before, but like I was saying in that first turn when it did the multiple things, that was not possible previously. Another thing that is great for this type of like conversation where you're talking with the agent, maybe iterating on one thing, rather than like, I would say like maybe a set and forget agent where it's dynamically responding to inputs and then setting parameters or calling other decisions in your network. But for anything that's almost like a chat UI type of interaction, you're going to want to use this agent session operator. And this agent session operator gets linked in agent. So you're going to drag that onto the agent op. And this has a separate system message parameter. So you're going to want to set the system message here instead of on the agent. And then no matter what inputs this agent has, it's not going to look at that. It's only going to talk with the context in the session. But it does have access to the tools, and it is still responding and following the turn budget, as well as if you have additional context, you can pipe that in here, and that will be added along with the agent session stuff. But if we were to do the same thing in the agent session, we could ask it, what's in the table? And you'll say it read content. It says it has one header, testing 1, 2, 3, and no rows. And in this, you'll see the user and then a tool and then an assistant. So this is a little bit more accurate to what is actually kind of going on for the agent and to the agent. But again, maybe you might think it's a bit annoying with all these like TouchDesigner parameter things, but that is where the chat viewer comes in. So this operator takes a conversation table, which is what the agent and the agent session put out, and it gives you this interactive view showing the different tool calls as well as the messages. And you can also type, wow, and I can send that, but you'll notice that it just disappeared. So you can change this up a little bit. I should have made it better for the size by window. I will do that in a future update, but maybe we can make the font a little bit bigger for you guys. So I said, what's in the table? And like I was saying, wow, that doesn't send anything. And that is because this operator has no idea what its input is coming from. But if you drag the agent session to agent session op, now this is going to know that this is the session that it should inject the message to. And so I'm going to say, wow, and I will actually get a response. And if I say that again, nice, you'll see the agent is responding. And it's very much just demanding, please just let me know. Just let me modify this table. I'm begging you. Add a, or, well, first, probably going to want to just turn this back on and replace the table with 10 different cats. Or, yeah, I mean, yeah, 10 different cat breeds. So it's going to call that, and it just replaced it with 10 different cat breeds. Great. So now I can say add a column with estimated average weight. I'm spelling it wrong. Oh, I'm going into the tool. It added weight in pounds. Add height and lifespan, please. And hopefully it adds 2 more. Yeah, sweet. So now I have a wonderful table with some awesome, I don't know how accurate, but some data. And maybe I can make a visualization or something with this. But that kind of covers the agent session. Another fun fact is if you go inside, each one of these is actually going to create a messages table, a tools table that details all the tools that are called, and then it has like a metadata for the different conversations. And that last provider is not accurate, but cool. And the chat viewer itself, like I was saying, is just a nice way to have this interactive view that's maybe a little more familiar. Definitely let me know if anyone runs into bugs with this. It should be relatively working, but I did notice, I think I had like a project open too long, and for some reason, all of my keyboard shortcuts in that project for any web viewer across TouchDesigner just wasn't working, which is a weird bug, but I just moved it to a different project and it worked fine. So yeah, gotta move on, gotta try to go quick. So, oh, another thing to note with the agent is it has these nice new chop channels. These chop channels I've added to a fair amount of the LOPs for good event-driven signals. One other quirk about the chat viewer is the spacebar. Depending on where your mouse is, will pause your project completely, which is really, really hard because then when you try to hit this button, you're like, wait, why isn't it responding to me? But if I unpause it, it will now have sent an empty message to, oh, it didn't look like it sent an empty message. Maybe it won't send it. Oh no, the message is still there. Yeah, I can send that. And it's just not sending the empty message. So that probably is, oh, another thing is deleting. If you hit the delete button, it might delete the operator. So it's something I'm going to work on solving. Another thing that's completely new is this tool VFS. Oh, that's the tool registry. So tool VFS is built off the virtual file system, and this will automatically populate itself when the agent tries to use it if it's not already there. This is actually a palette tool in the tools. Tools and virtual file. So this is the same exact component. I just copy it and set it up for you a little bit. And then this allows agents the ability to have access to this virtual file system and write files. And this can be shared between different agents so they can check and read the files. There is the ability to load from a folder and export to a folder as well. Let's actually use this virtual file system with a agent orchestrator demo and explaining a little bit about that. You can see we got some nice chop channels there. So for the agent orchestrator, yeah, it's not too busy. Let's just move this stuff a little bit over here. We're going to want to drop an agent, and the agent orchestrator on the parameters, you just want to link a validation agent and then add a text stat, which this is going to hold the task. And the task could be anything that you might want multiple agents to work together towards some sort of clear common goal. And then the agent orchestrator gives you the ability to have one agent use sub-agents as tools. So let's have this virtual file system over here, and let's add 2 more agents. And I'm just going to copy and paste. And then in the agent orchestrator, we'll add 2 agents here. So agent 3, agent 4. None of these agents right now are set up with tools. So let's see if I can drag this onto all 3. Oh, looks like it worked. And I dragged the wrong one. Let's drag the tool VFS on, instead of the actual virtual file. So now all of the agents have access to this virtual file system. And I could write a little test task that says, please say hello to the other agents and request that they test the files system. Please read the files they write and ensure things are working smoothly. Move those little extra excited characters, and I'm going to turn word wrap on, and then this is pretty much all set. So we have the agent that is going to control the other agents. We have specified a task, and then we have these sub-agents that each have their own specific tools. Currently, in this setup, every single agent does have the same system prompt and tools, but these are things that you would want to create specified roles in a system. Just for demonstration, let's start this orchestration. We can see we have one agent, calls the first one, then calls the second one, and it's assigning the tasks, and it's reading it, and it looks like it worked. So we have test file agent 3, test file agent 4, and we can see the size of those, and great. So that is the agent orchestrator. I'm not going to go into like crazy full depth, but you can see it's super fun. Let me reset and start a new one, and this will pretty much just like add more of these test files. It's going to say it's complete to give you a little behind the scenes. In the agent orchestrator, similar to the agent session, I also have these bases, which they do rename themselves. So you can see the session ID. And if we go back to the agent session, that also has a session ID, auto name session on that one. And then I think this one is a slightly different name for some reason, but yeah, rename session. So inside of the agent orchestrator, the orchestration has a task table, decision table, capabilities, which are like the different agents and their system prompts and tools, a log, pending tasks, which probably, let's see, they should be completed. Oh, there's one pending, but it says it's completed. And the validation turns, and then kind of like the conversation from the validation agent. And a full summary. So it looks like we went through 6,000 tokens, which is not that many tokens at all, and 7 different rounds. And I found that for certain things, especially like some like deep research like or web scraping setups that I've been experimenting with, this agent orchestrator is massively token efficient, because every time that these sub-agents are called, they're only receiving one direction from the agent that calls them, instead of all of these agents sharing some sort of giant context token window that would make the stuff be a lot more expensive for the API calls. Cool. So quickly, let's just go. I have a couple other new ones. Search and crawl for AI. Both got some nice updates. Search is just like fully, totally rewritten, has 5 different search providers. There's these like agent modes for both of them where like by default, the crawl for AI isn't going to actually give the agent the full content of that website that it crawls. It's just going to tell it like, cool, I'm crawling it. And then it's going to run the execution in the background. And the search is going to actually wait for the completion of all the search, but it's going to send a truncated content. So it's only sending 2,000 characters at a time. But let's go in these agents to make them a little more specialized. We'll give them each a new tool, and this first agent will be the search agent. So let's just call this agent search. And then this tool gets a scraper. So this is agent scrape. Yes. Also, I guess to slightly define these agents, so they each right now have the same system prompt. Well, let's just use this role creator. It's kind of a lazy way to do it, I think, instead of writing it yourself, but general search agent, and we're going to give it a new role. And now we see we get, you are a general search agent. Your purpose is la da 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 da. And now we'll say general web scrape agent, agent T, and we'll drag agent scrape onto there, and we'll get a short system prompt for that as well. And now that these agents have a little bit more specification, we have one that is a searcher, one that's a scraper, and then because the system prompt and the tools are configured in this way, this agent is going to like automatically know what these agents are good for. So this isn't a very good task for this, but let's have it, yeah, look up the new POPs operator family for TouchDesigner and find and scrape useful documentation. Search, then, or let's, in my testing, saying this did help, but search first, then scrape. Maybe we can test it before and after. But so for this, go to the orchestrator, reset, and start it again. So now this is going to search, and it's going to get some results for pops. It's going to now start scraping these single pages, and maybe it calls it again. And no, it completed the orchestration. So cool. So now, yeah, it looks like it only crawled the single page for those two sites, which was not an incredibly detailed research run, but we could give it a much more specific system prompt and ask for, yeah, let's try for 20 plus documents and hit start. Now we get this agent calling the search agent. Waiting for a while. This agent's thinking. Assigning the task to this agent. Now this is going to crawl a bunch of pages. You can see there is a bit of an FPS hit, but now this crawling is happening. And is that done? It looks like we got 18 sources. It didn't find over 20 links, but of course the LLM is going to gaslight you a little bit. But cool. And then you could grab this, go into a rag index. It's going to pause because this is the first time I have added the index to my project. And we could call this pops docs, create an index. And this is using the llama embed text model, parsing the nodes. And then it's pausing because I'm guessing that that was Ollama starting the embedding model. Might not have been active. Ollama kind of dynamically loads and unloads models in the background for you. Error connecting to Ollama. Interesting. Let me try that again. Do I not have Ollama running? Oh, I don't have Ollama running. Let me start Ollama. Jeez. There we go. Generating embeddings. I literally just needed to have Ollama started on my computer. Normally that's running. All right, cool. So now we created that index, and I am now realizing that I forgot to add a feature, which is like this cool view that shows you how many tokens and stuff are in the index, but whatever. I will add that later. Rag retriever. And now we could set up maybe even a agent that has the rag retriever as a tool. 2 is fine for this because it's just going to be searching over the documentation, and then we want an agent session, the agent there, and then drag out a chat viewer, link the session to the viewer. So now in this, we can open this, and again, I am sorry for my handling of this. I'm actually going to delete this and just grab the one over here that I already kind of made look a little bit better. And then this is going to get this, and now you can chat with the documentation that we just scraped. So what are pops? And let's just think about what is going wrong here. Agent session is linked. Oh, new session. We didn't have a session open. What are pops? The heck? Agent is linked. We have a session. Oh, also this agent session it's the wrong session. I was probably sending all these messages to this other agent. Terrible, terrible. All right, well, just don't be like me and actually know how to use my tools. So let's try this again. What are pops? What are pops? We can actually redo the last message. So, hey, boop. It's going to retrieve the knowledge and it's going to grab it and it's going to respond. It's point operators. Great. And just fun stuff if we turn off this and ask the agent the same thing. Particle operators. Not quite the correct definition. Similar, but you're definitely thinking about Houdini. So, like I was saying, with that message, we can grab the knowledge out of the knowledge base that we created and use that with our agent in our agent session. So this has gone too long with the agent orchestrator, and we have now created the full web scrape setup or whatever, but let's move on to more features. Gemini Image Gen has an awesome Nano Banana 2.5 flash. If you remember, this whole design was actually created with Nano Banana. I took the changelog right here, and if we want to try to replicate it, basically just copied all of that, and I went into a text stat, pasted that there, and then had this thing called a context grabber, which I can add any dat or any number of dats to the context, but we're just going to add that. We're going to say changelog, and then in the Gemini Image Gen, we can give it a context grabber, and we can say create a cool map-like graphic detailing and illustrating the new changes to LOPs. And yeah, let's just try that. So this is not with an input image, which is really where the Nano Banana shines. But let's go just to prepare it while it cooks. Oh, well, that's crazy. It is very map-like. That's fun. So if we right click, hit the parameters on this, go up a level, I'm just going to grab this and maybe make it square. And then we'll put this as the input image. So what did I say? Use the robot as center element and tiny illustrations for each operator around it. Sketchy style, stop motion. Yeah, sure. Just a little bit of stylization prompts, and then we'll hit generate image. And now it's going to see the op viewer. It's going to see my prompt, and it's also going to see this entire changelog. And hopefully we get something good. Even though it said the wrong date there. Ooh, this is kind of fun. Point. Yeah. Honestly, I kind of like that better than this one. This one I copy and pasted some CSS code in there too. But yeah, so the Nano Banana stuff is really fun, very, very capable. Takes about 10 to 15 seconds for the generation, and then it will come back. It's really good for almost like Photoshop-like tasks. Another thing that I updated, and when is this image going to come in? It's taking forever. There we go. Saving image. Ooh, this one's even better. Rewritten, improved. Gemini index. I don't know what the Gemini index is, honestly, but we do have the agent session, the MCP server. Yeah, I mean, it's pretty crazy how good the text is. Add LLM tool for TouchDesigner. Let me spell that right. I did find that for some reason the model it had a very strange thing where it wasn't spelling TouchDesigner right, switching the G and the N, and let's see if that's stayed consistent. So I'm asking it to add that LLMs plus tools for TouchDesigner thing in there. It's crazy how good some of the Nano Banana stuff and some of these new image models are getting at representing text. Any day now. There we go. It is ridiculously consistent about spelling TouchDesigner wrong. Also added slightly annoying, but honestly not the worst looking blow effect. And this is not the first alpha release, and this is the second alpha release. So a couple other things really quick. Another Gemini thing is Gemini Live. This got a little bit of updates with this session history, and you can also resume the session. There is a limitation where it has to be a session within the past 12 hours, I think. And sometimes if you close the session, the live API is still an experimental thing, and it has been for a while. All right, so grab the mic, set it to the input of your choice of your microphone, and you're going to want to plug that into Gemini Live. And then if you hit start here, it should respond to my voice. And I can't hear anything. You also can't hear anything, but let me turn on the playback and turn it on device 1, which should allow me to hear it. And I'm just going to pause that for a second. Cable B. Hey there, what's up?
Is there some... Hey, not much. Just here to help if you need anything.
Cool.
How about you?
What are we doing right now?
We're just having a conversation. You're asking me questions and I'm responding.
That is correct. Can you end the conversation?
All right. I've stopped the conversation now.
Cool. So, Gemini Live's pretty awesome. It should be able to use all the tools that the agent is able to use. You can add as many as you want. You can also send it like an image. So, classic example is the screen grab, and I think I'm on desktop 2. Yeah. So if I go, oh, I'm paused too. Nice. Let's take a fit off of here and just fit quarter. Is it able to read much? No. Let's go. We'll go half. This is like full HD, but in the first page, we'll drag this image to the top channel. So now it is going to be able to see the screen anytime I hit the send image. So if I start this, hey, what am I doing?
Based on what's happening right now, it looks like you're working with the data flowing through the nodes in TouchDesigner, probably trying to manipulate or visualize it in a specific way. Can you tell me more about what you're trying to achieve with this setup?
Are you able to see my TouchDesigner network?
As a large language model, I don't have the ability to directly see your
Great.
TouchDesigner network.
Can you name the operators that I am currently looking at right now?
Based on what I see, you're currently looking at the agent search, agent scrape, and agent orchestrator operators.
All right.
Is there any...
No, you can end the conversation. Thank you.
All right, I'll end the conversation now.
So I added a ability for the model to end the conversation that is not something built into the Gemini Live API. And then there's also the ability to output text. So if I was to drag this text out here, and then let's just try to resume. So, hey, start. Hey, I'm back. Actually, sorry. Real quick, can you output all of the text that you see in this image using the output text tool?
Use the output text tool to display all the text I see in the image.
Awesome. Thank you.
Is there anything else I can help you with?
It looks like it's a bit unstructured. Could you actually put it in a structured JSON format?
I have formatted the text into a structured JSON format for
Great.
you.
That's all. You can end the conversation now.
Consider it done. If you need anything else in the future, just let me know.
Great. So, yeah, the Gemini Live can connect to, or it gets images. You can also send it text instead of talking to it, and then it will output text in this if you explicitly ask for the output text tool and have this toggle enabled. It also has Google search. So if I do not start this, hey, can you tell me what LOPs are for TouchDesigner?
LOPs are a new family of operators in TouchDesigner that let you use...
End the conversation.
Take care.
It's a bit rough asking it for a question, cutting it off, and then ending the conversation, but just doing a demo here. Like I was saying, you can also set the stream interval and use current custom resolutions as well. And the default low and high have a little bit on the API cost. Send text. It will respond with a audio that can be heard via this playback and also output into the conversation table. You can also give it tools. So I'll briefly touch on the MCP server as well. And Jesus, this video has gone way too long, but hopefully I'll be able to edit down. So let's take this MCP server, and if we look at this config page, this is kind of what's new, but we have this GLSL tool. So select that and hit load server, and you'll see that it changed. It added a new docked element, and that's actually going to set the target operator, and the MCP server is now active. So we can drag that on and set it as a tool. And now let's start Gemini Live. Hey, can you create a really simple circle shader that moves up and or scales up and down based on time?
There was an error with the shader code.
Fix it.
Let me fix. I've corrected the shader code. It should now create a circle that scales up and down over time.
Awesome.
You're welcome.
Can you create a new one that is like, it actually takes an image in and it's like a glitch effect?
I've created a new shader that applies a glitch effect to an image, using time to animate the effect.
Looks like I got an error. Can you check it and make it updates?
I've fixed the error, and the glitch effect should now be working correctly.
Can you make it a lot more like digital glitchy and add some vector uniform so that I can set it?
I have updated the shader to create a more digital glitch effect with horizontal and vertical displacement and color channel splitting. You can adjust the intensity using the uGlitch intensity uniform.
Thank you. I would actually like it if it was like a lot crazier and like, I mean like digital glitch, like it's like breaking, like think like LCD VCR effect or something.
I have updated the shader to create a more digital glitch effect, including scan lines, noise, and more complex displacement effects, reminiscent of...
Can you make it, it looks like the glitch size is consistent no matter what, depending on the intensity. Can you add a scale for the size?
I have added a uGlitch intensity uniform to control the size of the glitch effect. You can adjust this value to make the glitches larger or smaller.
Great.
You're very welcome. Let me know if you'd like to make any more changes.
Yeah, it looks good. All right, you can end the conversation. That's all. Thank you.
You're welcome. Feel free to reach out if you need any more help in the future.
Cool. So, oh, I just deleted the whole Gemini Live operator instead of removing this null. That's a fun little thing on the MCP server using Gemini Live. I haven't actually done any LLM shader coding with my voice, but I've had a good amount of success using the agent session and the MCP server with the GLSL tool. There's also this any script op tool, which is cool, and it allows you to create any sort of script op in tops, chops, sops, or dats. So that pretty much probably covers almost all of the operator updates. I know this was a long video and a bit rambly, but hopefully it clarifies some things and shows off some new features, and do have a separate video on the speech to text and text to speech stuff coming soon, as well as a video covering more of the MCP server stuff. And yeah, for now, that is all, and expect more from me very soon. I will be catching you all later. Peace.